Before we start, thank you very much for 10,000 subs. That's crazy. The outfits will make sense eventually. They already do if you've seen the movie.
I even yellowed me teeth.
Steven even put on this accent
Put on the
for
British
it.
accent the whole time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there we are.
I think this will be a pretty divisive movie. But it's what I would call an art house zombie movie, to be honest. It's not what anyone expected.
I guess except me.
I was expecting this to be very artsy-fartsy. As soon as I heard that they were going to be using iPhones to do multi-shots.
We'll try to keep it semi-spoiler free to begin with. 28 years after the infection, only England is infected. Everyone else isn't. It's maybe a commentary on Brexit.
It's post-Brexit for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Everyone else carries on life, and there's a little island full of survivors connected to the mainland via a land bridge. And Aaron Taylor-Johnson takes his kid out to do his first kill, which is pretty much what the whole first trailer bases itself around.
You are watching it and you're thinking, oh, is this the film? It's father and son. You're thinking it's like Cormac McCarthy's The Road. It should be something simple. And then sure enough, the complication occurs. And you think, okay, I guess this is the film. But then it surprises you in which that isn't the film, that's just simply a teaser.
That's almost like, that's the world building part of the movie.
It's a tutorial mission.
Yes. Yeah. That taught us how to use ladders.
Yeah, you get about 45 minutes of that storyline. And then they rest for a little bit back home, and then they continue something almost completely different, but with the same main character, a 12-year-old boy, who is an incredible actor.
Oh yeah,
I
didn't know he was going to be the main character because I didn't know anything. Purposely, I tried to keep away.
Yeah,
I expected it would be an Aaron Taylor Johnson, like he's the main dude. And
the trailer definitely pointed it to be that direction. They kind of pitched it as like zombie survival in the wilderness more than anything else, with like Aaron Taylor Johnson being your leading man.
You envision the film based on the trailers. I thought it would be like Ray Fiennes was going to be this like experienced head of like who's been out a few times. He knows it, but turns out he's complete. He was brilliant, but he wasn't what I thought he was going to be based on those trailer clips, the way I envisioned the film.
Yeah, it's possible that the movie hurt itself, or at least Sony hurt the movie by pitching it that way. I think people will go in expecting something else. I did really like the movie. I would give it probably like a 7.58 kind of deal. So I liked it. There's some silly things in it that I didn't love. It's definitely not as grounded as 28 Days, and not really even as grounded as 28 Weeks. Like 28 Weeks has your action-y bits and stuff, but this one does definitely have some like silly moments, which I think did take me out of the movie more than I wanted it to.
The film obviously is a commentary. It's talking about England. It's post-Brexit. It's post-COVID. So I quite like the world building we were getting, and I know you can't go, the world building's so good, so therefore you can wash away all the other problems. But the little commune that they live on, which I forget what it's called, I don't think it's ever named.
It felt real though. I loved that portion.
It felt like it was a purposeful reverting back to like this, what people think 1950s England was. You've got young Elizabeth in the as the photo of the Queen. I'm pretty sure everyone is white. I don't think there's one person of mixed heritage on the island. And it definitely felt like it was this reverting back to jolly old England. And I remember my granddad, who was a staunch labourer, always telling me like, this country used to be self-sufficient before Thatcher came. And then all of a sudden you've got this island that is pridefully self-sufficient. This little island that England would pride itself on. And
I think that those portions of the movie are the strongest, when they're just doing little world building sections, or Aaron Taylor Johnson and Spike are walking through the town. Like, it feels bloody real. They kind of speed ran why it works the way it works and how a community would actually function. Like, they go through the fact they do have school. The reason they go to the mainland is to get fuel for their fires, because their island obviously can't have infinite trees, whereas the mainland has a bunch more. They just get all that stuff really, really well done, and I really enjoyed that section.
yes.
I thought this was an excellent return to form to classic storytelling and filmmaking. I have a real problem with modern day movies and TV shows made for like a TikTok crowd, where movies and TV shows nowadays are so scared to sit on something. There were shots and scenes in this movie where people are going to be like, fuck, that was boring and pointless. But it's like, no, I want to watch Aaron Taylor Johnson and Spike just sitting down at the table talking about, like, do you have your stuff? Them walking through the village. It's a bit prolonged, like how long it takes to get there, but it's so important. Everyone is out there to see them. You're showing that, like, people are showering in the street, but they don't care because they're like such a well-knit community.
It lets you sit in it.
It showed a lot of humanity of Aaron Taylor Johnson's character when he's making breakfast for Spike and he goes, subscribe to your Bergenbeard. And he goes, you subscribe to Bergenbeard. He said, I already subscribed. I subscribed while I was making breakfast.
I rang the bell.
That's really good.
They're all acting normal, but they're celebrating a 12-year-old boy's off to go and essentially kill someone. This idea that they've managed to have a culty kind of vibe because there's a girl in a mask. We don't know what that was about.
I'd love to watch it again to see like when they're in the school and they're like, well, we all have, our jobs to do, and it pans to like the board of the pictures.
I like the world building of that section because it was all bits clipped from an old school book of like jobs people could have. But then the bottom job, I can't remember what it was, but it was a thing that you can only do in the zombie apocalypse. So that one was hand drawn.
It was very interesting that the 28 years later aspect, it shows in these people, especially Aaron Taylor Johnson as well. He's so kind of comfortable in the apocalypse, and everyone's comfortable as well. Like, because a generation's now removed from the zombie apocalypse starting, it's now become like a societal norm where it's no longer weird. It's the norm, which is like, and that's why I love this movie as well. It's okay, and it does great jobs of being eerie and off-putting with not just like what you see and like blood and viscera, but in the subject matter as well. It makes you feel like watching like a cult A24 film.
It was an A24 zombie
You're like,
movie,
something's
honestly.
a bit weird with these people,
This is a sequel that actually had literal and figurative balls. I liked that every 20-30 minutes we were getting a switch up. I felt I was always guessing what was going to happen a bit. And while I did think, maybe the reset with him, for his reasons, going back out into the world, it felt like there was two scripts. That Alex Garland wrote two scripts, and Danny went, what if we just... And one script being, father and son travelling, the other one being save my other parent.
Which is a little worrying considering this is a planned trilogy. So they back-to-back shot 1 and 2. The second one's called The Bone Temple. The third one is apparently written, but only will come forth if the second one does well, which is also weird why Danny Boyle isn't going to do the second one, because the first one kind of forgets its style for me halfway through. Like all those shots that I was complaining about with like the shots back to medieval England movies, but they just stop that like for the other half of the movie, which is a little strange because I don't think it added anything to the movie in the first half. If anything, it took me out of it because we're doing this grounded, gritty story of father and son for that first half. And then suddenly we're showing footage from other movies.
It's so weird because I completely disagree with you, where I loved that it was cutting to old English like knights, and when society goes, this is what it resets to. When there's no technology, this is as far as people can get without specialists.
Yeah, I think for me, I get it. I just didn't, it doesn't detract so much from the movie as I'm just like, yeah.
I love this movie.
Again, I thought it was pretty good.
I'd give this movie a 9.5 out of 10.
Oh yeah, I walked out going so far I think this and Sinners are probably the best films I've seen this year in terms of I'm happy that they're like genre films.
Yeah.
Even though this is a sequel in many ways.
It's really not a sequel, to be honest. It has so little to do with the other ones. 28 Days kind of has the same thing where it's two different movies stuck together. Yeah. It's an urban little survival, and then they're like, all right, we're going to go on a country walk, bit of a break, and then the Christopher Eccleston stuff. So I'm kind of not shocked.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like this is more of a sequel directly to it, just in terms of spirit. And obviously the same people who made it here, but 28 Days Later is such a vibe film. You're just kind of just experiencing this with the characters. A very simple plot. Just what the fuck are we going to do?
We have a Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3 situation here.
But that's why I didn't like the parts of this movie that took me out of it. Because 28 Days is such a vibe movie, and it's consistent throughout with that. Whereas with this, when it does the random little weird bits, I was like, eh.
Well, I think it's also... The film progressively gets weirder and weirder, that watching our main character climb up a tower of skulls to place his mum's skull on the top, I'm like, this is fucking beautiful. And an hour ago, I would have been like, what the fuck? But because I've descended with the film, I'm like, God, yeah, this is fucking...
It's macabre.
When they're running away, when they're coming back with his dad to the town with the first Alpha after them, just goes, what if we just had the most beautiful lung shots ever? Because fuck it. Completely out of place tonally, but I was just struck by just the beauty of it.
So we have Aaron Taylor Johnson and his son Spoik. and they're very odd mother. She has the turn, you know. There's something off with her.
I was there going, is this going to be like she's some undercover infected?
Especially because the first shot you see of her, she's like, like, you know, she's freaking out.
And even though I don't dig 28 Weeks Later, it has a great opening.
Oh, the best of the three.
best
Yeah,
of
the
the
best
three.
of the three.
This one might be the weakest opening for me, but then it also is more gory because they're kids.
If you had to say one of them was the weakest,
the
I'd
three.
say this one.
Really?
Yeah,
I'd
Well,
put
it's like, I
this
love
over
the
this
monkeys.
list.
I love the monkeys, and Weeks was generationally
Weeks
good.
is like its own short film that you can
Yeah.
watch
Yeah.
the first 10 minutes and be happy.
Days just
like.
might be too classic. Maybe that's why I like it more.
I dug it because you're watching Teletubbies. It's a video repeat of it, seemingly, and it's a load of blonde kids, which blew me away. They're all blonde.
But they forefront one of the kids, and it's little blonde. I think he's even named Jimmy by the mum at that point. Then we get the classic intro of a 28 film, banging on the doors, and then suddenly everyone starts dying, and Jimmy's running away for sweet dear life.
I thought that intro was a bit interesting because the zombies felt different in that part. The infected, they were like, they walked in and they were like shambling like this, whereas every other depiction of these zombies, they would have bolted in and like did like a dolphin dive.
Just in the movie in general, they're a bit different. Like the whole film.
And the intro was the most artsy camera-wise for me, where it was jarring. Maybe it was just because I hadn't gotten used to it, but the intro was a bit like jarring, just with like camera angles and tilts and a bit of blur. And I was just like, whoa, I'm like, I'm not going to like this if it continues like this.
Yeah, I think you got used to it, or maybe they slowed it down, but that was because that was the most frantic part of the movie as well. But then Lil Jimmy runs down to his dad's church. His dad was...
Is his
priest.
dad, or was he just saying father?
Yeah, I don't know.
Very true.
Because then he's also like, my
I felt
son.
like it was his dad.
It felt like it was his dad, and like he's very rapture is nigh, and then Jimmy survives, and then we cut away from Jimmy, but we do forefront the cross first, the cross necklace from his dad. We pay pretty heavy attention to that, and then nothing from then on for him until the end of the movie that we'll talk about later.
Fucking most incredible ending ever, but yeah, sure.
So Aaron Taylor Johnson and his son go out. They leave the island for their first hunt. He explains how we can only travel between these times. This is what's happened with the zombies. The ones that aren't eating, they just shamble on the ground. They're the easy ones to kill. And all the while you're getting these like very hard cuts of like red night vision, viscera, destroying animals. And what me and Steven were thinking is they're not infected. These are people have
really?
gone crazy. Yeah, me and Steven were like, they're looking not like zombies,
I
really.
thought that was going to be it. That it was that he was shitting himself. Like, no, it's not zombies. It's fucking cults.
That's way more messed up. We can deal with the zombies. The Walking Dead scenario, which is like after the first 4 seasons, the zombies just became like such a side plot that it's about the people and the zombies. There's like an element of the world they have to deal with.
Spike's getting trained, and he's not good at it. He's 12.
Seems the whole community's based on like the legend of your first go. He kind of bottles it. He kneecaps one, but his dad kind of runs the show.
Aaron Taylor Johnson being the absolute coolest dad fucking ever.
Oh my god. He was just the coolest character. I'm like, this guy's just the coolest.
He's constantly hyping up his son. His son is pretty crap. And then he's like, no, you did the best you could. Like, honestly, I've seen grown men be
We
shitter than
see
you.
the alphas coming, and what's this lad doing? He's fucking shooting it, and his son's going.
lit him up.
I'm pretty sure he's going. You're swearing, Dad. Don't swear.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the idea that they're brought up in this kind of religious-y, like you don't swear.
But this,
stuff
like, it's the
that.
first. They're celebrating that first kill. The
Yeah.
whole town's getting behind it. They're like, they're drinking in excess. They're eating in excess. They're really celebrating.
While they're on the mainland in that first section, it's very survival horror focused, so they've only got 10 arrows each. They get trapped there because the alpha comes after them. They can't get back across the land bridge. They went over that in the tutorial. It's like, hey, you gotta just survive the night because you can go back in the morning.
It's
and
only
that's
there
all.
for 4 hours or something, they say.
Yeah.
But the plan was just to potentially just kill a slow one and go, oh, well, that's
Yeah.
that then.
Yeah.
But Dad got a little bit too greedy.
That's why Act 1 is called Hubris.
He wants to talk his son up like he does later on.
The fucking Giant Slayer.
Yeah.
That's probably the most classic zombie movie you get. It's not the Last
I think
of Us
people would
kind
have
of deal.
loved this if the whole movie was that.
I think
Again, that's kind of the way they
some
pitched
were
it.
Yeah.
So.
expecting.
Well, on the first night when they're trapped out, Spike sees a big bonfire and, Dad, what's that? And Aaron Taylor Johnson, very dismissive. That probably just people.
Yeah.
Goes back to sleep. And he's like, that's weird. So when they get back to the mainland, he asks his granddad, oh, we saw a big fire. I wonder what that was about. And the granddad, just having fun. He's like, oh, it's probably old Dr.
Kelson.
Used to be my GP 30 years ago.
What's a GP? I love that. I like how clueless the kid is of like that stuff.
Yes,
It was a great little touch. What's a GP? Well, it's a doctor. Straight away, the light flicks in the kid's head. Well, we don't know what's wrong with mum. And the kid does a very selfish thing, which can be justified in a kid's head.
Spike loves his mum.
I've gone out now. I've seen the worst that it is. I'm going to make mum better. I'll do whatever it takes.
They did almost die a lot, though.
Very true.
Which is why he's 12 and not 14, 15. It feels like a 12-year-old boy who's sheltered. But then they give him more motivation because then he sees that his dad, who up to that point is like the hero. Like, and I think all the home stuff, both versions in the morning, I already had the bacon. Dad, come on. Like, all that stuff's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So then you feel a bit betrayed.
This kid loves his mama.
I loved it when the way they set up Ray Fiennes' character, the doctor. We came up and fucking just all these bodies and he's there. And then what made them crazy, and I loved, he goes, and he looks up at us and just gives us a little wave like it's
Beckons
a
us
Sunday
over.
morning. Beckons us over like, oh, come on down,
Yeah,
lads.
we never ran so fast.
Yeah, I thought that was fucking sick. Because then you're there going, who the fuck are they going to meet?
Because also you build up Aaron Taylor Johnson as this hard bastard.
Yeah.
You know, he's a real hard ass. Killing, bang, bang, bang. Survivalist. He's been in this world. And what scared him? A guy.
Yeah, a guy who was casually lining up bodies.
People are creepy. Danny Boyle's really good at the character stuff. All the character stuff is great.
Yeah.
And then Spiky Boy gets his mum and gets her to the mainland because he's going to find Dr. Kelson. And they get immediately eaten and die because he's 12 and he's not very good. But luckily for him, there's no zombies for a while.
Well, this is something that you get a bit techie on, right? Because
I think that's why you like it. There's levels of like, you let it happen for the story.
well, in 28 weeks later, at the start, they tell you that the whole island was dead. That either people escaped or they're dead. So I'm thinking, well, just how many zombies are now actually in this world? And I felt there was a correct number of zombies. I felt it was like a few packs, and that was it.
I think it was weighted weirdly. Like whenever it was Spike by himself and he would have died, there weren't any. But when it was Spike was okay, there were a lot of zombies. Again, it needs to be for the story because you want your little 12-year-old kid getting his mum to a doctor and you can't have him become a god immediately.
And it doesn't ask or doesn't even encourage you to ask, like, why in 28 years Europe or anyone hasn't thought to at least do something.
Carpet bomb it.
the simple plan has been, we're just going to let it die.
It's a conceit for the story to happen.
Yeah,
so it's there are a lot of ex machinas to allow little Spikey his time in the sun. Just little detractions which stop it from being a 9 out of 10 for me. Every time he gets in trouble, something happens. So what's the first one?
First one is he's sleeping in the church.
And then we get quite a tense moment of one of the low and slows crawling all the way to him, and then it starts chewing on his shoelace because it eats worms out of the floor. I was like, love that. But then the mum suddenly hits lucidity at the exact moment and slams the shit out of this zombie.
What threw me off was we have that cut of the bag going over. He wakes up, looks at mum, sees the body, what happened, and then it's revealed the mum did it. So I was like, so why did we feel the need to have it edited like that instead of just simply having it be the mum's done it, whack, 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 wake up, and the mum has completely forgot.
Yeah. The editing is also weird again because that's what he does. But that's the first one. The second one for me is Mum and Spike are stuck in a shell or hell, which I love.
Yes.
All the fuel has evaporated into the air, so now it's
like
butane
layered
in the sky. And then they're about to get eaten by zombies, and then one of the best characters of the movies opens up the roof of the place and shoots his gun, which ignites all of it.
And that was set up because we cut to this sequence of like Swedish soldiers. There's a whole chase sequence with them with like Samson the Alpha, I think. And for some reason, all alphas just really love ripping heads. Like that's their go-to.
It's like a Predator trophy.
Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah.
They love having big dong and fucking other zombie women.
Exactly.
One of the soldiers survives, and then that soldier saves Spike and his mum by igniting the whole place. Spike and his mum lying on the floor don't die because they can't die. It's their movie.
Oh, the top half of the building is flammable. Got gas.
Do you know how explosions work? It explodes out the windows, but they survive that, and then they get to hang out with Eric for like 20 minutes, and Eric is very fun and brings like a really nice levity to the movie because it's been a completely serious movie up until now. There's been no jokes.
What's great with that character is it's it's somebody from essentially our world.
Yes.
Because only England's in the apocalypse.
Fish out of water. Like, it's literally a 2025 person suddenly dropped into the zombie apocalypse that he knew was going on. It was just over there.
It was just that thing. So then there's no frame of reference for either one of them. Like, he's here assuming everyone's inbred. Like,
Yes.
doesn't know what delivery driver is, online, what phone means.
The absolute best one where Eric has 1% battery left, so he wants to show Spike his girlfriend, and then she's an Instagram model, plastic surgery done up, and Spike's immediately like, "What's wrong with her face?" And I lost it. That was
There's
so
a girl in
fucking
my
funny.
village who's like that. Whenever she eats shellfish, her lips get all big.
I love that bit. That made me laugh a fair bit. I really enjoyed that section with Eric because it was so funny.
The angel's over there.
But that is one of England's, like...
Is that a real thing?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, that's a real thing.
When it came on screen, you were like, of course.
Yeah.
I love Steven. You were making like little, like, you'd see some like Britishism. You're like, of course.
One of the last little Deus Ex Machinas that I can remember, at least, is...
Morphine.
Yes. So they're about to get killed by the Alpha at one point, and then Ralph Fiennes at one point saves the day. So, like, they do have to save the day with him multiple times.
Well, he is a 12-year-old boy.
That's what I mean. And because he was so bad in the first half, it's not like he had time to, like, get better.
So we also get the very interesting, like, pregnant zombie woman who, in the moment of giving birth, seems to be herself a little bit. Like, she grabs onto Jodie Comer's hands. There seems to be a more human connection. But the moment the baby's out, she goes straight back to rage mode.
Very confusing section of the movie.
Well, it's explaining, seemingly you would think that then what would happen is they would then bite the baby becomes infected and grows up infected. But they are just people who are infected.
Yeah, they're just angry people.
When Spike and Eric are talking, it's like, oh, why are the berserkers or the alphas so big? It's like, well, because it's like they're always on steroids. Their body's always producing like testosterone or steroids or
because then the sloth
HGH.
ones are like they've like
regressed.
they're surviving by just foraging the ground constantly,
Yes.
like slugs.
You'd think they'd be skinny because they're only eating worms and stuff, but...
Well, I think they're bloated. Like they're
it's like gas.
water,
They're like
gas
decomposing.
and water, and
Yeah,
their bodies
I
just
like
like
that.
can't shit as well. So it's probably just all like in there.
But that section was very weird for me and definitely became laughable for a little bit there because Spike's entire world is his mum, but then he decides to let his mum get way too far away because he's talking to Eric. The fact that she does get so far away in the first place and decides to go into an obviously zombie-infected train and follow the screams of someone, you can get away with some of it because, like, oh, she's not completely lucid, she's a bit wacky because she's dying of cancer. But him letting her get so far away and then her seeing a zombie in a semi-lucid state and being like, oh yeah, this is fine, I'll help it give birth. And then they pop out a baby, and then they save the baby. Even though the zombie daddy is trying to kill them for the baby, they keep the baby rather than handing over baby.
because it's a baby.
But it's his baby. The movie got a bunch of new potential when Zombie Baby popped out, but it also started getting very, very weird.
When Ray Fiennes turns up, he's covered in iodine.
Loved it.
What's crazy is that he's mental. Of course he is. He spent nearly 30 years isolated. I mean, one of his first things is someone asks him, what's that? And he's overjoyed that he finally gets to answer his life's work at that point.
I've been waiting almost 30 years for someone to ask that.
He's completely lucid in the moment, seems incredibly normal and nice and regular. So when they ask him for help and he assesses the mum and quietly has to tell the son that and her, you've got cancer, there's nothing we can do, this is sadly what
He goes
the
back to doctor
situation is.
mode, kind of.
You don't know what his motivations are because he blow darts Samson.
I really did enjoy the use of morphine because they are just people. That's one of the fun things about these zombies is you can shoot them in the heart and they die because they're not undead. They're just angry people.
Yeah, so he doesn't want to kill them.
Yeah, he goes out of his way not to kill Samson because Samson comes after him and he still leaves him alive.
Basically, anybody he comes across, he feels like he wants to honour. He's using the old...
Memento Mori.
Yeah, the dead language, and wants to just basically build a monument, like the equivalent of like Stonehenge for the zombie apocalypse or something.
Yeah.
I'm hoping he's in the sequel because I just feel like there was more there that I'd love to know.
So you see the mum decline. We don't know why. It's very dementia-y. But then Ralph Fiennes says you have cancer, and then I assume he says you don't have long to live, or you're going to get worse and worse pretty quickly. It's going to be downhill.
He says how long? He goes soon.
Okay. It's a very emotional part if it gets you. Ralph drugs Spike so that he doesn't freak out.
Doses him.
Then he cremates
Which
and...
we've set up already with the
Yes.
head of
Yeah.
Eric.
So, but the fact he does it and then polishes her skull super quickly, does the skull thing, puts it up on the top, but then Spike doesn't want to go back home but he knows he can't look after a baby because this isn't Cargo starring Martin
This
Freeman.
is what
Who's also a
I can
child.
see some people getting a bit. His motivation is he wants to go until he can't see the sea again or something. He wants to just see more of this place.
He wants to see the sequel.
Which, personally, I was like, I don't know about this because, you know, as you've said, the kid hasn't exactly been having a good run.
And he's lost his entire
I think
world.
it's because he's had to grow up so quick.
Yeah. I'm not mad at
And
it.
there's nothing for him there.
There's his surrogate daughter now.
That's not his daughter.
No,
Well,
has
he
a
looked
baby.
after her for a bit and brought it back.
Yeah, a day or two, sure. And then he's also told she needs milk.
Yeah.
So if he keeps her, she's gone.
He does leave a note with said baby that he named Isla after his mum, saying it's an infected baby, but she's not infected.
I thought that would be that's when the culty stuff comes
Back
in.
to the
or
sea.
the masks come, call the masks come down, going, and infected is on the island or something.
Aaron Taylor Johnson's performance when he gets the note, runs and dives into the sea. I was like, mwah, mwah.
All the performances were absolute perfection. I don't think
Crazy Lady
anyone,
was great as a crazy lady.
no actors took me out of the movie.
Eric.
Eric was fantastic.
Anyway, so we cut to Spikey, and he's just eating a fish.
Quickly realising he maybe is out of his depth a little
He
bit.
gets outnumbered by a couple of Zambos, so he runs but gets cornered. He runs into a little rock wall, and then who do we see? Jimmy Savile.
This bit took me massively out of the movie, honestly.
Oh, I
started
fucking
laughing.
loved it.
I started laughing.
Oh, so good.
It entirely depends on what they do in the sequel, but this could be the dumbest part of the movie.
I could see people watching this very serious fucking film up to that point. Very earnest. Even in its craziness, it's still earnest. And then you get the cult of Jimmy.
And they're doing backflips.
And they're doing it's ninja.
but like trampoline backflips.
It's ninja Jimmy Savile's.
It's very Shaun of the Dead. We see evidence of him around the world as well. The guy who's hung up, lynched with the bag on his head, it says Jimmy on his chest.
And there's a church with Jimmy written on the side
It's like,
of it.
beware the coming of Jimmy, and that's like just written on the side.
I think if you don't like the movie at any point during it and you get to that bit, it's really going to hurt you.
Yes. It neither detracts nor adds anything to it for me. Like, it didn't bring my score down or boost it up. As goofy as it was, I'm like, of course people are gonna start going crazy and having fun with the ways they kill zombies. Let's have fun with it, boys. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it's like we see this in Zombieland. There's like the fun, it has like a bit of funness to killing zombies.
That's also a comedy, though. This is decidedly not a comedy up until that point.
It's such a wild, like, swing, which is what I liked about this film.
Overall, I really do enjoy the movie, but there were just those lots of things that I was just like, wish they didn't do that more than anything, but I'm not like, this movie sucked.
We haven't even talked much about the technical stuff where it's spiritually similar. Something that didn't have much of an impact on me, and if anything just felt a bit distracting, was the bullet time equivalent effect, where it's like almost for at least the first half, every headshot needs this.
I wish they didn't shoot this on iPhones. I think it actively hurt the movie. It did have a mini DV style like the first one, but that came more from Danny Boyle's directing and color choices. In the nighttime scenes, the image definitely falls apart. Like when the Swedish fish are in the tunnel, it gets very blotchy because iPhones are not meant to shoot in the dark. When they shot 28 Days Later, it was more of a necessity to shoot a film for cheap back then. You did actually need to shoot it on video, and it was just kind of like a wacky thing for them to do and helped market the movie. Here, it was very marketing focused, and I wouldn't be shocked if Apple was like, hey, we'll give you half your budget if you say everywhere you shot it on it. And yes, I absolutely hated the bullet time rig. Actually, one time it worked, when he shoots the upside down hanging guy.
Oh, yeah.
That worked really well. Every other time, I was just like, it isn't as big of a deal as they made it out to be for shoresies.
Plot-wise, 28 Days Later isn't that intense, and this rightfully isn't that intense either. So if there are people going, you know, this is a shit sequel, I respectfully disagree. I think spiritually it's pretty much the same.
My biggest thing, and the only thing that detracts for this movie, is they don't use that beautiful 28 whatever
Song.
song.